everybody. This little book here is an exercise in brain games. I really do not look at the quote before I sit down to do these. So it's as much a surprise to me as it is to you, both what it says and what comes out of my mouth. We're going to see what we can do with this one. For your benefit and for mine. When I do these things, these videos, they're as much for my benefit as for anyone else's. Our situations are different. Everyone's situation is different. But even people with the best situations have situations. We're all human. And we all have burdens and suffering practically, tangibly, spiritually, emotionally, relationally, financially, in our hearts, in our heads, in our health. The human game is not so easy. And it's been said that life is suffering. And some parts of life are suffering. It's what you do with your suffering that determines so much about how things pan out for you, your reaction. Life has good and life has bad. It is guaranteed to come sooner or later in some form or another, or in 20 forms all at once. It is less what happens to us that determines our quality of health, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, relationally, financially, and our happiness, our survival, and our thriving. Then our meaning we interpret upon what happens to us, how we then internalize that meaning and decide to react to the situation of suffering, whether that be an emotional, physical, spiritual, relational, situational suffering. Two people get the same health diagnosis. One says it's over for me. One says it's not going to beat me. And they put up resistance and they fight back. Some people, situations break them. Some people, situations grow them. And there's a lot of different circumstances that go into why this is the case. And if you're more the type of person who ends up becoming overwhelmed and broken and beaten down by the things that have happened in your life, don't beat yourself down further by blaming, shaming, or kicking yourself for not being stronger, healthier, wiser, more able, more capable. A million little pieces, from many of which were placed in your head when your unformed brain came out ready for programming, ready for neurons to be programmed and networking and wiring to be programmed. Between age 0 and age 5, the human brain is literally not formed. It is wired through experience. And then all the other things that have collided and coalesced, plus the specific spirit, or whatever you'd like to call it, that resides inside of each of us, that is us, unique and separate and different and withstanding and outside of all that we've experienced and all that we've been implanted and programmed into that permanent piece of us. All the things coalesce to make us us and make us right where we are and make us have certain strengths and certain weaknesses in different areas in our life. So don't guilt or shame yourself for not being strong enough if you don't feel like you are in a certain area. That's the worst thing you can do, is to beat yourself down more and make yourself feel weaker, less capable, and less able to cope better. Forgive yourself for any weaknesses that you have. Have compassion and understanding for the place that you are in this moment in life, in all your strengths and all your weaknesses. That there is a reason why you, your early upbringing, your temperament, all your experiences, and all your exposures have led you to this very moment in time and in space, in place and in person. Everything that makes you you. And you remind yourself that you do have unique positive traits and qualities and characteristics that others do not have, strengths in areas that others do not have. If you feel more of the type that gets beaten down rather than learns and grows, the last thing you want to do is beat yourself down more. Identify as, that is who I am, that's what happens to me, that's what I'm capable of. Remind yourself of all the good things you are capable of. Forgive yourself. Accept yourself for exactly where you are. Understand there are reasons why you are exactly as strong or as weak in various areas. And it's not your fault. Honor yourself. Love yourself. Those are the moments you need to love yourself. And acknowledge and embrace and accept that we are able to strengthen areas that we are weak in. Humans are malleable. We change over time. If you want to build a muscle, you can. And if you can't build it right now, you can begin by stop kicking yourself when you're down, kicking yourself for your weaknesses and failures and mistakes and errors, self-forgiveness, self-acceptance, and leaning into your strengths, acknowledging your strengths and leaning into your strengths. And then step 2 is acknowledging and accepting the fact that it's possible that I can get better in this area. It's possible that I could get a 6-pack abs if I want to put in that time, energy, and attention. and devote my focus in that area, which I don't. I don't. It's not that important to me um, to spend as much time, energy, and attention as I would need to acquire that goal. It's not something worth it to me, but just as endeavoring for that goal, you can endeavor to strengthen your weaknesses if you put the time, energy, and attention into them. For I will laugh with my bitter speech. Bitterness, anger, volatility, shitty situations, sufferings, disruptions, health problems, bad days, negativity, all the dark, ugly, unpleasant, unpretty aspects of life, the things we go through as we go through this human experience. You can experience and expect to experience suffering. Everyone does. It's a guarantee of life, just as good things are also a guarantee of life. Sunshine and rain. But it's less what happens to us and more how we attribute meaning and then cope with through internalization and reaction to that meaning we have assigned to the pain that ends up defining how we feel about ourselves, about our character, about our life, how our life turns out, and the overall quality, the survival, the resilience, the capacity to cope and grow through a thing rather than just go through a thing. Someone cuts you off in traffic. It is an occurrence. You assign a meaning to them cutting you off in traffic. They were rude, they were offensive, how inconsiderate. Then you get upset, then you get internally stirred. Now you are in pain, now you are dysregulated, now you are upset. And then you can further perpetuate that by deciding to react negatively by chasing them down, driving on their tailgate, honking your horn, swearing up a storm, raising your blood pressure. It's a minor example of a thing, an instance in life, a moment that happened. And it was what it was. Someone cut you off in traffic. And then you assigned a meaning. What if your meaning was, wow, maybe they don't know how to drive very well. Maybe they're inexperienced. Maybe they're, not an experienced driver. Maybe they're in a rush. Maybe they're heading off to an emergency. Maybe their wife is in the hospital. Their loved one is in the hospital and they just got a call from 911 and they're racing off to the ER. You really don't know. So you can also choose to say, I don't know why that person just did that. I'm glad they didn't hit me. I don't know why they did that, but I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm not going to allow it to bother me. And by placing a different meaning on the situation, and you're not worked up, you're not frustrated, you're not moved. And because you're not worked up and you're not frustrated and you're not moved, your behavior changes. And you just carry on your commute. It's kind of a ridiculous example, but whether you're coping with health problems or depression or anything in life, it's been said if there's no enemy within, there could be no enemy without. Or the enemy without cannot hurt us, something to that effect. It's true there's pain and suffering in life. There's bad things that happen in life. There's uncomfortable and painful situations and experiences in life. But you always have a choice to laugh through the bitterness, the sour, the ugly, the painful, the dark, and the bleak. To allocate a meaning that is different, that is better, that is more positive for you. If you find yourself moved by a situation, a small one like I mentioned, or a larger one, and it's really getting to you, something someone said, something someone did, something that's going on with you, even a health condition, try to ask yourself, what else could this mean? What else could this mean? What else could this mean? What lesson could this offer me? What could I take from this that is positive? What am I learning about myself? Always look for the silver lining thing. It's cheesy, but it's true. Always look for the lesson thing. It's cheesy, but it's true. Because allocating a negative meaning and reacting accordingly negatively only compounds life's given pain and suffering with further pain and suffering and negative situations that make your life worse, your feelings, emotions worse, and negative coping makes your behavior, makes your situations worse. You're adding suffering and pain to your own suffering and pain. You can walk across that bed of hot coals, and it is what it is, what it is, what it is. You're walking across the bed of hot coals. It hurts. Some people do this at improvement retreats to feel empowered, to prove to themselves that they can. And it's a positive experience. Others would see it as torture. They both exhibit pain, but how you interpret meaning on top of that pain, and then how you further take that meaning, internalize it, and approach the situation is going to determine how much suffering and compounding of problems you add to the pain you are already existing with. Like my health condition. It is showing me that I am hella resilient. I have a very high threshold. Oftentimes in life I feel weak, small, incapable. Like I can't handle much. For a year now, I barely had the energy to scrape myself up and get in the shower. And I've been holding up my job. I've been holding up my relationships. I've been holding up my obligations. I've been holding up my household. And I've been digging and digging and digging and maneuvering the medical community and trying to get the balls rolling, trying to find out solutions and answers and working out and eating right and managing myself and managing my health and managing my mental illness and doing life purely out of willpower. It tells me, as much as it is insufferable and unpleasant, rather than place more pain and anguish on myself by placing a meaning like, why is this happening to me? Why do negative things always happen to me? Every time I get done with one bad thing, something else comes along. I'm never gonna, whatever I want to attribute to it. Instead, I'm looking at the lessons and what it's showing me about myself. I may not be in a position to utilize these lessons in other more positive areas of my life because I'm physically compromised at the moment. But it's telling me that I have a secret superpower of resilience and that I can actually handle a lot. I am capable of managing a lot. I am stronger than I realize. More determined than I realize. More willing to fight for myself than I realized. And when all this is said and done and things have settled down, even if they never do, I will have learned a great deal about my fortitude and who I actually am versus who I thought I am at the end of this suffering experience. I will laugh through my bitterness. Laugh through your bitterness. Cope through your bitterness. Let things go. Lean into your strengths. Don't shame yourself for mistakes. When the darkness comes, consider carefully the meanings you're attributing to your suffering, how you are internalizing the situation, and what actions you are taking to cope with and to improve the situation. For I will laugh through my bitter speech. I will laugh through my bad videos, such as this one. I will laugh through my bad days. I will laugh through my depression. I will laugh through my illness. I will laugh through the dark nights. And I will do so because life has enough bad built in. I love myself, and you should love yourself enough not to want to hurt myself or experience any more pain than is necessary. Life wants to get you here and there, as it always does. Don't get yourself. Laugh. Laugh through your pain. Cope through your pain. Grow through your pain. Don't just go through your pain. And sometimes you needn't even feel the pain, like the traffic example, or if someone says something negative to you. Think, what else could this mean? Maybe they're having problems at home. Maybe I misperceived what they said. Am I feeling sensitive today? Maybe that's not how they meant it to come across. What else could this mean? Can I just let it go? And then not hurt at all. Only hurt when you have to in life. When you have to, try to apply meaning, interpretation, internalization, and reaction in such a way that you don't add pain and suffering to your pain and suffering. And that when you come out on the other side of the darkness that you had to experience, like a broken bone, you are stronger than before you experienced it. Laugh through the bitterness of life. Don't grow bitter through the bitterness of life. And let go of things that you need not consider bitter if you just choose to think differently about them. This video is really long and a little meandering, and I probably could have done a better one. I'm sorry. I'm a little off today, but doing the best I can. And that's all that anyone can ask of anyone. Love you guys. Have a good day. Do the best you can. Let things go. Don't suffer any more than you have to. Be careful what meaning you apply to the life that occurs around you and within you. How you internalize that meaning and how you react. Don't add pain to your suffering. Don't add pain where there isn't even pain. And if you have to have pain, don't add pain to your suffering. Add learning. Add growth. Good morning, goodbye. It's a bad video. Sorry. Maybe I'll refilm this one. Maybe I won't. If it goes up, it goes up. It's got a point. Not a very succinctly well said point. It's got a point. Love you guys. Good morning.